Right. So how do we apply this low bar to sociality, to relationships, especially the ones that are difficult or the ones that are challenging? I'll give you an idea. And this could be done if you're in a family, if you have children, especially. I'll just tell you a story. When we were in New York one time with the piano guys, we've been there 100 times. We had some spare time, which was a rarity. And we decided, let's just go out on the street and try to see if we can get someone to smile at us. And the only thing you can do is smile at them.
That's hard in New York.
No kidding. This is the major leagues, right? So we said the first person who gets someone to smile back wins. So we made a friendly competition out of a low bar sociality goal. So we went out and we all were smiling, and we were trying to smile, and it was hard to get someone to connect with us. First of all, eyes not to the ground. And then it was hard to get someone to smile back. It took us an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
4 guys. My favorite one was John, who looked slightly creepy when he really smiled big. He went up to this guy that was standing at this crosswalk, and he goes up to him and he goes like this, standing next to him, just staring at him.
The cops.
And he looks at him and he goes, "What, are you selling something?" Still no smile. But the thing is, if you have a struggle with this, you're not alone. But try low bar goals. I think if I were to issue a challenge, but beyond the ones that we've already issued, it would be to try to be inspired in your relationships and in your interactions with others. So if you believe in God, if you believe in Heavenly Father and a Mother, this is a great thing. If you believe in a higher power, if you believe in connecting with Earth, however it is you connect with this, it's important to get beyond the nice shoes compliment, which is okay. That's a low bar. And that's okay. I don't want to condemn that. That's a great place to start.
Can I condemn that, though? I mean, I'm saying this from a female standpoint.
Yeah.
I know that we look at aesthetics differently. Like, my husband would love if someone said nice kicks. In fact, he likes so many kinds of red shoes. He loves red shoes. That's what he does. Oh my gosh.
Okay, wow.
Anyways, but I think I'm going to say, women, we can do better.
Yeah. We
have an intuitive gift to look and to feel when you see someone. You will know there's something inside you that can go more. And especially for our younger generations, that it's just like, we have to have all the things and all the things and all the things. It just, I'm going to say, I think it feels cheap. I think it feels cheap. And I think, maybe it'll get your foot in the door with a single compliment. But like you said, maybe something physical. I feel like a genuine compliment has nothing to do with what you look like or what you're wearing or anything that you possess. Those are the rules in our house of a house of all girls. That's what a genuine compliment does not include.
Okay, that's good. I like that rule.
Sorry.
I like that. No, this is good to understand that. I think it's okay to start. If it frightens the daylights out of you, start with a low bar. Stick with the shoes because you can look down when you're doing that too. Nice shoes, I don't have to look at you. You can start there, but dig deeper, because I tell you, there's tremendous joy that can come from an inspired compliment. And I hope you've experienced this. I think everybody's experienced this when somebody has said just the right kind of compliment that you've never forgotten. Okay, we're talking epic fail stories of trying to connect and falling on our face.
Practice.
Well, I'm so glad you're getting this. You've got to change the word failure. Failure is a temporary label we slap on success we don't yet understand. So let's just relabel all together and just call it practice.
Here's one that happened literally yesterday. I pull into work and we pull with my daughter Kate, who's 16, and she's the kind of person where, I asked her to go in and make a reservation at a table, and she's like, "I can't do that." What? I'm like, "Oh my gosh, go with your 16." So we pull up, and I see what looks like someone who's homeless, and they're wrapped in a blue tarp, and they have a grocery cart with items, and I was like, okay. And I happened to have cash on me, and I said, "Kate, go give this to the person and tell them, say, God bless you, Yeah. And so she was like, "Mom," I'm like, "Let's go do it." So I go inside the studio, and I'm like setting up, and she comes in, she goes, "That was the worst ever." I'm like, "That was embarrassing." I'm like, "What could be embarrassing?" And she's like, "Mom, I asked them I offered to give them the money, and they said, 'Oh, no, thank you. I have my own money.'" And she goes, "So then I was just standing there with the $20 bill." And my daughter goes, "Well, are you sure you don't want to just grab dinner?" And she's like, "No, I'm actually waiting for my food." And she goes, "So then I just put the money in my pocket and said, okay, have a
Walk
great
of shame.
day.
Walk
She
of
walked
shame.
inside.
Oh.
And I said, you know, Kate, this is a great practice. Here's why. I said, we look at someone and think, oh, they must not be happy because they don't have this.
Right.
This one was apparently very happy
Yeah,
with
just
everything
fine.
they had. And
Yeah.
so it was a good practice for her. But I think that she's gonna push back a little the next time.
That's
I'm
okay.
like, go do this.
That's all right.
Okay, your story.
Good practice.
What's your
Okay,
story for
so I have lots of epic practice moments.
Good.
One that I
Which means you're trying.
This is therapeutic for me to bring this one up because this was traumatic for both me and the person that I was trying to serve. So I'm sitting in a concert setting. I think it was kind of more of a serious classical music concert setting, and we're all this kind of a quiet moment, and you hear this like crack, like a woman had purse contents had just fallen everywhere, right? And it was like something particular that she had brought. I don't know what it was. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to help her out. Man, I'm so good. I'm going to help her clean this stuff up. Even though I want to focus on this concert, I'm going to change it. So I look down and there's this pill that's down at my feet. And I pick it up and I tap her on the shoulder and I, with a big smile, go like this. And she takes it from me. She goes, she gave me the nastiest crusty, like, and she like puts it down. And I was like, that was so lame. Like, here I am trying to serve somebody and all she could give me is a crusty. Well, come to find out when the lights came up, she was picking up her stuff and she didn't drop pills. That had been some nasty, gross pill that somebody had left and I picked up and gave it to a woman I didn't know.
She's like, is this Stephen Sharp Nelson giving me drugs?
Yes, I was totally a narc dealer that day. Okay, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I don't even know what the pill was. It looked prescription. I was glad I gave it back. It was expensive, yeah. So there will be moments when they will be laugh out loud moments later, like now.
Right.
It will be very awkward and uncomfortable in the moment. However, there is no excuse for giving up.
No.
And no matter how awkward or uncomfortable a situation might be, you have to keep trying.
Okay, can I tell a quick, really great story?
Yeah.
This will be the moon and the sun working together. This last Christmas, a friend invited me to go work at the Mission downtown with my girls, and we were drinking hot chocolate, and it was so beautiful and so wonderful. And I came with a little I had a client earlier that day, and he had paid me in cash for some reason that day, which he doesn't always do, but I had this amount of cash with me and I was going to leave it. And then I thought, no, I'm going to bring it with me. And then I was like, no, I don't want to bring this much money to a homeless shelter. That was my thought, like how rude and like, ugh, you know, and then I was like, no, I'm going to bring it. And I bet you I'm going to find somebody who needs this, you know? So we're serving hot cocoa all day. It was such a beautiful experience. And I noticed a gentleman walking across the street. And the minute I saw him, I was like, he's special. He's special.
You just sensed it. I love that you have that
gift. There's something special about him. And he came and he had AirPods in, right? And so and he was dressed fairly nicely and he had a big puffer jacket on and he seemed really together and we were just kind of visiting and I didn't know, like when I was there, I didn't know who was needing help and who was working. It was really kind of hard to know, which is wonderful that I didn't know who was who, right? But he had just said he had been in prison for 22 years. And he was very open and just said that he moved here. He just lost his mom to COVID and that he can't rent an apartment because no one will rent to him. And I'm listening to his story and I just could feel my heart just like, and I saw him welling up with tears. And then I thought in my head, I bet you he hasn't had a hug in a long time.
Oh, wow.
And so without thinking, I just said, do you need a hug? And he said, yes. And I gave him this hug. And my kids, thank goodness, were looking at me like, why is mom hugging, 10-second hugging this man?
Yeah, long hug.
And then I learned more about his story. And he just came by for a cup of cocoa. Then we learned, go inside and get lunch. Go inside and get boots. Go inside and get a jacket. And he did all those things and came back out again. And my heart was so full. And I had this prompt that said, this is the person you're supposed to talk to today. You're supposed to help them today. And so I told him, I said, Robert, I know that you have a good heart. I can feel you have a good heart.
I love that compliment.
And I know you just have to keep on trying. And I said, and I knew I was going to meet you. And I brought this with me today because this is going to get you somewhere that you need to be, and you're able to help somebody else. And I said, and next year when I'm working the cocoa stand here, you're going to come by and you're going to tell me all the amazing things you did and how your life has been changed.
Love that.
And so, listen, we have moments of offering drugs to people. And we have moments where literally, not me, no, this was a complete divine intervention where I was like,
that's what it is.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this. And then you realize that everybody has something. Either everybody is special or nobody is special. That's how this world works. And everybody is special. And if you just take time to see who they are, it is a gift for you. I dare say more of a gift for me than it was for this lovely gentleman, for sure.
I love that.
All through connection.
I think it's important to understand and stress that human connection relationships is kind of like playing a string instrument. Most of the time, I would say the majority of the time is just work. It's hard work. It really is. But then there are these seminal moments where I tell this to kids when I'm trying to motivate them to practice. I say, yeah, most days are going to be just screechy hard and doing scales and trying to fix a particular moment in a piece. But then this sublime moment comes when you're playing your instrument, you close your eyes, and all of a sudden it feels like you're flying. And it's a moment that I wish that everybody could experience when it relates to an instrument if they're taking an instrument, but I also hope it's a moment that people can experience with relationships. Sometimes relationships are just practice, and then other times, and this, if we don't give up, if we strive to continue practice, there will be these moments when we will soar soul to soul with somebody in a way that transforms both of us in an internally progressive way where we feel better because of that relationship and they feel better because of that relationship. And I think that's where what it comes down to is sometimes we have these moments that are awkward and uncomfortable and where we don't do very well, we fail, quote unquote, but we need to keep doing it because inevitably there will be these moments where there will be a life-changing small hinge upon which a large door turns and will open up an opportunity for somebody that you've interacted with that will change the course of their life.
Right.
And that's pretty exciting to think about, to be involved with that, and pretty exciting to be on either end of that. Not all of us can be Mother Teresa's. She's my hero. She's totally my hero. One of my friends actually spent some time with her. And he told me this remarkable story. He said they went into a hospital. And I love this. I'm trying to picture just what this would have felt like to see. They went into a hospital. They go into this room. There's this man that's in this bed that's empirically alone. He's just somebody that's suffering and just one of those people you're like, I don't want to get near this guy. It's like your story.
Yeah.
And so he comes in and without a word, she goes over to the bed and gets in the bed with him and cradles him like this. And for many minutes, not a word, just holds him. And I can't do that yet. I'd love to get to that point. But I think Mother Teresa was teaching us a lesson that you just said. We don't have to know the exact right thing to say. We just need to sometimes be next to somebody. And what's remarkable to me is Mother Teresa struggled. I didn't know this until recently. She had a darkness in her. She called it a darkness. She struggled with what she did. Her mission in life was very difficult for her. She wondered if God had abandoned her at times because she felt so alone, even though she was helping people to not feel alone. So it's okay to struggle with this. And Mother Teresa herself did. It's okay to feel awkward. It's okay to feel an uphill battle with this. But it's not okay to stop trying.
Right.
And I think that's what COVID is trying to convince us to do, and what the alternate force in the universe, that's the adversary of our happiness, is trying to convince us that it's not worth it. Just give up. And that's when we start to lose our souls, is when we stop connecting with other souls, because it's like recharging yourself isn't just plugging yourself back into yourself. It doesn't work. You've got to plug into other people in order to feel that recharge, even if you're an introvert. I hear that excuse a lot. I'm an introvert. Well, introverted is not bad. It's not negative. It's a different approach. You need to be alone in order to recharge. However, that doesn't mean that you have to be alone at all times, because if you are, that charge eventually you won't be able to find that charge.
My heart is so full, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for Steve. For Steve's good. I'm so thankful for your goodness, and I'm thankful for the light that you share and the energy that you give so freely, and you do it just because you're so lovely. Like this means a lot to me. I was actually very nervous to ask Steve to do this, just because I know how busy his time is. But he said to me, "I would love to do this." And this is not a trite conversation. This has been a gift for me, and I hope it's been a gift for you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking a walk in the wilderness with us.
Thank you, Lindsi, and thank you all for watching.